Hey everyone, this is Tolan Peterson with myfirstplacenorthwest.org. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of meeting your close date when buying your first home. So meeting your close date is very, very important. Your life's going to basically be hinging on this one specific day and time. You're going to be giving your landlord notice that you're moving out of your existing place. You're going to most likely be hiring movers or asking friends to help you move. You may even be ordering new furniture that you want delivered on a specific date, a day or two after your close date. So missing your close date is not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form. It's also important to remember that there's another side of this transaction, right? Being the seller. Same exact situation for the seller, right? They're also trying to meet this close date. They're going to be, planning on moving out on a certain date. They may be trying to buy another home that they're trying to close on, and so those two dates have to line up. They're also, hiring movers, ordering new furniture, all kinds of things. So missing the close date doesn't benefit you or the seller. The other thing that's important to remember, though, is that it's not just an inconvenience if you miss your close date. It actually also gives the seller a way to exit the contract. And that's not a good thing, right? Generally speaking, there are a lot of exits for the buyer, a lot of different ways that the buyer can get out of the contract throughout the process. Not a lot for the seller. Missing the close date, however, if the buyer misses the close date, that is a big exit for the seller. And so basically, when I say the buyer is missing the close date, what I really mean is that their lender is not closing in time, right? So when you're buying your first home, you're going to go out and you're going to hire a lender that's going to help close your transaction and give you a loan. And so basically it's them not meeting that deadline, right? So that being said, when you are going out there and talking to different lenders, trying to find somebody that you trust enough to help you through this process, a really important question to ask them is, how often do you close late? And how long do you need to close my transaction? These are two big questions. The first one, I think most people most lenders are used to, how long does it take you to close a loan? Oh, I can close in 15, I can close in 30, I can close in 45, et cetera, et cetera. It would also, though, be very good to have a follow-up question of, in the last 3 months, 6 months, however long, how many files have you closed late? Somebody that takes this process as to be as important as we do, they're going to say that's, the last thing we want to do is close your loan late. It's our number one priority to close on time. Somebody that doesn't take it as seriously, they're going to kind of beat around the bush. They're going to say, we don't close that many late, but, life happens, right? What are you going to do? That's not a valid response whatsoever, right? So you really want to be making sure that you're hiring a lender that can close your transaction on time. Again, because you don't want to give the seller an out. 3 or 4 years ago, when there were tons of sellers and not very many buyers because the housing market was declining so much, it wasn't that big a deal, to be honest, if you missed your close date. Sellers didn't like it, don't get me wrong. They were frustrated. However, they looked around and went, well, I don't really have anybody else that wants to buy my house, so I guess I'll give you an extra week to close, right? However, the marketplace has really changed, right? Nowadays, there are very, very few sellers and tons of buyers, right? There's a lot of competition out there, at least in the greater Seattle area. So nowadays, the seller can look around and go, I've got actually a handful of other people that would like to buy my property, maybe even pay me more than our contract to sell to you, Mr. and Mrs. First-Time Homebuyer. So again, that's something that you really want to avoid. I'm going to wrap up by saying not only is it important to make sure that you're dealing with a competent lender so that they can close in a timely fashion and that they'll hold themselves accountable to whatever promise they make you, but it's also very, very important for your real estate agent and your lender to be communicating on a regular basis. If they don't have open lines of communication, your lender can tell you, well, I need at least 45 days to close this transaction. But if the realtor doesn't pick up the phone and call the lender before writing your offer and say, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, how long do you need to close? well, then that lender being upfront with you doesn't really benefit you if your real estate agent isn't on the same page, right? So it's very important to make sure that that open line of communication exists, because you can ask this question up front, but once you get halfway through the process, honestly, there's going to be so many things going on in your life. You're not going to be able to just watch every finite detail with a magnifying glass, right? Again, that's why we're hiring competent lenders, competent real estate agents to help us navigate this process. So as long as you're asking these questions of your lender up front, and then you're making sure that your realtor and your lender have an open line of communication, you should be fine. Well, guys, that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you'd like to learn more about the first-time home buying process in general, please go to our website at www.myfirstplacenw.org. Go to our calendar reservations page. Sign up for one of our free workshops. Thanks much. Ooh.